Good morning, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party. Rhett is in the living room because it is Tuesday, 14th of July. We are in the dog days of summer, as we call it here in the south of the United States, southeast of the United States. So today may be a little crazy. Rhett's in the living room because it's Tuesday and all that, but we decided to try something new with our back room. That's normally our cats sort of hang out in the back half of our house, and then there's a door, and the dogs, my daughter-in-law's and my son's dogs can't get through to them because there's a door there, and so all that, and the cats are afraid of the dogs, and blah 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 blah. Um, and the cats get along fine with my dogs. I have three dogs, they get along fine, just fine with it with my dogs, but the other dogs get a little crazy. So now there's like a gate. So technically, the dogs could probably jump over the gate. They're pretty athletic. There's no way they could jump over without hitting the back wall, but I think there'll be like here we go. There'll be like it, if they do end up doing something like that, there's going to be a pretty loud crash, and if they may end up coming at this point to the house. Anyway, so now we're trying to work on this, and I've come up with sort of this little standard for myself where if I see this little green checkbox, that means it's like a temporary task to do on my next thing. So, and it's more importantly, it's a comment that I do not want to survive. So right now I want to create a has other scenes in this class, which I'm guessing just accepts these and returns a true if the number is greater than 1 or greater than 0. And a false if it's not would be my guess. I guess we should go look at mesh service to see what their has other scenes does. Yep, that's what I thought. It just returns. That's what I thought. And actually, this is an exact copy of the function that we need, but this function will need to be eventually removed from this this file because meshes is going to be looking for has other groups, not has other scenes. So that is that. So let's go over here. Where are we? We are still in mesh. We want to be in groups. There we go. So now we're in groups. So let's go ahead and paste that. Again, anytime you do something like that where you do a paste, you really should be thinking, okay, should this be what they call dry? So do not repeat yourself. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I just feel like, yeah, it probably that probably should be that. And honestly, I think all of this was just so that um, because I felt like the concept was a little difficult to understand. So it's very easy to understand that we have has other scenes. All right, so now this is so weird. All right, so now we actually, I guess since it's not possible right now, like the way the whole thing works is you would never ever have another scene, but we don't even have a group. But I don't know why I didn't do this. Why didn't, if I was going to go so far as to, but I'm going to just implement it. Maybe that's a mistake. I don't know. So if you should delete, then this dot delete, I think it was, oh, we don't have a delete, do we? This delete group. Okay, yeah, this delete group. And then give them the mesh ID, st group ID. All right, so now we want to delete group. I'm guessing all we do with that is, let's go look at it. We probably literally just delete it off of the, oh, we do. Oh, okay, so that's actually a lot more complicated. So when we go to delete a group, oh, okay. Actually, this isn't a lot more complicated. I mean, when we delete a group, we got to determine if that group is used. Okay, no, we've already determined if the group is being used anywhere else. But um, so we won't have to do this geometry stuff and all that, deleting the geometry, but um, yeah, we will have to do this recycling, the sequence and things like that. I totally forgot about that. And I don't know if it's like particularly obvious to you, but um, that's a lot of stuff going on, right? We're deleting, we're recycling IDs, we're deleting children. Now this, like I said, this group, when we delete a group, we probably need to let the mesh know that the group that the mesh is part of needs to be deleted. Yeah, that's right. So that gets complicated. But now we're basically moving group over. And see, there's just so many, it just gets deeper and deeper. So it's really hard to um, have any grip of how long something like this is going to take. I mean, it would be different like if we didn't write things in like abstractions, where it's like, okay, now like, oh, that's right, deleting a group does a bunch of other stuff, which is not part of anything up here, right? Like when you say delete group, when you say, hey, I want to delete a group for a scene, now we're like, okay, yeah, I want to delete the group for the scene. But when we delete the group, we don't want to leave orphaned meshes. At this point, maybe we would. Maybe we would. Maybe we would want to manually go in and delete them, and they're still available for other things. I don't know. But for now, I'm going to assume that if I delete the group and it has meshes, and the meshes don't have any other um, aren't connected to anything else, we want to delete them. But I don't know if that's really for sure. It looks like, oh, okay, we don't want that line. That was very confusing having this line. I think I just hit cap locks. I think there's like a key on my, yeah. All right, so now we're just kind of working through this. I don't like it. I could easily get overwhelmed at the moment trying to imagine everything that needs to be done in here, but I will not get overwhelmed looking at line 97. So you just got to recognize that sometimes things can be extremely overwhelming when taken on the whole, but like if you take them individual by individual piece, um, sometimes it's not. And that's not always the case, but it looks like first thing I do is go ahead and delete the mesh dictionary, delete the group from the mesh group ticker from the dictionary, because we know we want to delete this group. There may be some other things we want to do too, but and so then I have this strange little comment there, and then we don't care about geometry IDs. So that's easy to deal with. At 100, we don't care about material IDs, but we do care about the meshes. And so, and I don't know what I was using for mesh. Do I have it in here? I don't know if I had a special icon for mesh. Maybe in scene. So when we go to delete a scene, we got to go through all its meshes. So basically, we're going to do something very much along the line, and I did this. So we want to delete the associated meshes. So that's crazy because literally all I was looking for was the icon that I was using for a mesh, and I don't know what it was. So that's interesting. So over here, I do delete scene, delete scene from the dictionary. So first thing I do is go get all the meshes. Yeah, I feel like this is much better implementation than that other one. So I'm just going to copy all of this. It's probably much closer to, because basically we were just deleting meshes. And see, when we go to delete a mesh, the mesh has to check to see if it's in any other groups, and the group is the one that has to tell it. Man, that is so abstract. And again, we can't even test this stuff because, like, sort of until I get all the pieces in place, I can't run any of this code. But decided to take another tact, and I'm just going to delete everything that's in here because I think the way I did it for scenes is a lot more applicable. Yeah, I don't think I just pasted in. I was a little worried that I just pasted in how's other scenes. All right, current st group is an st group. And then st group dictionary, and we're getting it from st group ID. Then current st group. We want to iterate over. I used to really struggle with that word, iterate. Like I just would never remember it. Every time I'd go to what? I don't have a. Okay, that's crazy. Are you telling me that in my st groups, I never said meshes? Oh my gosh, that is so wild. St mesh IDs. That's crazy that it's hard to imagine that we got this far in here without having to do that. Save. Let's see if it breaks anything. Because you would have thought that on our little, yep, there we go. And I was really against this, but I have started putting the trailing comma. I find that the number of get conflicts goes way down when you specify, when you leave that leading lagging comma, because you don't have to change this line to add a new item in there, um, which is really nice. Okay, so now that works. So now we want to delete. Okay, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to comment this stuff out. Right. So now we want to go to the mesh service and say delete meshes for group ID, which doesn't exist yet. And then st mesh ID, st group ID. All right, so that's going to be our next step for tomorrow. So control pop, little, nope, Windows period. And then check. There we go. Just amazed that there's not a red one. Okay, create a delete mesh for group ID function in the mesh st mesh service. And then I'm going to comment that out for now, and that'll be first thing tomorrow, go ahead and take care of this indenting situation. All right, so we're still moving on. And I will say that in my past experiences, I've sort of gone sort of down this sort of path. I don't really like coding like this. This is not my preferred way of coding. I know a lot of people that this is their only way of coding. I like to build little pieces and just sort of get it all working all at the same time. This, I'm building the whole section of code out and all the working pieces, and then I'm not even gonna get to run it until we actually implement it. So we got to build like all the supporting structures around before we can even implement it, and that's a lot of code. Um, and I've done this before where I've gotten all the way to where I thought I was like needed to go and found out that I messed something up and had to delete everything. And I've done this where it all worked and like suddenly I'm just grinding away and then suddenly everything just works. Um, so I don't know how this is going to go, but anyways, happy coding everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.